Hey everyone, Terry Buzzard Jr. here. Just kind of sharing with you where some of the connections are between your company and myself, and how we could be potentially a good fit depending on what you guys think, obviously, right? So I guess a lot of it goes back to kind of starting with y'all's creed and the way you guys do things, and how I kind of relate to some of that in my life and things that I've done in the past. As a prime example, I read at least 2 hours a day. I read once an hour in the morning, once at night, a couple of different books that I do on a regular basis. I usually try and tie in one book in between there as well, a few times a week, just to kind of keep my education up and get things going, which fits within obviously continuous growing, innovative improvisation, striving with integrity and self-discipline. Those are big things that are important with me. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that Aaron had introduced me to was, what's the biggest thing that makes you stand out that you're never going to change? And of course, that is my integrity. Your name's only as good as your worth is only good as your name, or your name is only whatever it happens to be. And obviously, with a last name like Buzzard, it can be a good thing or a quick bad thing. So you always have to lean on the good side and have people want to follow you naturally. And you'll do that if you're a generally good person. The other thing that kind of ties into this is, at a younger age, when I first started getting into business, I didn't really fit in with my family. I know that sounds weird at first, but my family's mostly factory workers. I shouldn't say basic jobs, but they didn't go for that higher level, and I didn't fit that mold for whatever reason it happened to be. And because of that, I never really had someone to teach me the skills and the things I needed that was going to take me to the top. And so I had to kind of figure these things out on my own. And I noticed that even as I was growing up in the first company I worked with, and was growing up through the rankings, I would take people that I felt and that were up and coming at the same time, and I would show them what they needed. I learned this phrase later on, but the phrase ties in very well that you need to be the person that you needed before you got to where you're at, or a couple steps before you got where you at. I think the phrase is a little bit different, but along that same line. And then you do that, you get people, you're teaching them, you're building them, and you're doing good things for them, not only them but you yourself. Which also ties in, obviously, for a couple things like practicing what you preach, doing what's right rather than who's right, which is also a big thing, which kind of ties into some of that too. And then also, you also got the other part of that too, where it's very important for me to have relationships and long-term relationships with people and organizations. A prime example was when I sold boats and motorcycles for a while, and I actually took this company from a little local consignment shop is primarily what it was. They had some of their own inventory, but it was that. I took them from a local level to a statewide level, or regional level, then took them to a national level, and then eventually into an international level. And I was able to establish those relationships even internationally all over the EU, where people would just simply call me and say, I need this and this and this, what do you have? And they'd buy the boat sight unseen from me because of, one, my integrity and the relationships that we built with them, which ties back in also to laughter and having fun, because if it's strictly business, it can be a little daunting, but when you enjoy actually carrying on conversations with people, it does help to strengthen that relationship. And it's a lot of those little things like that tie in with what you have, what you guys already have established, and the way my natural ability is. I think that that's a somewhat of an even match. On top of that, you've also got a solid work ethic. I love money. Part of my goals or my achievement in life, and I guess the reason why I do things is because my family, my mother, my father were mostly average workers. Let's just say they don't have much of a retirement, so I have to make sure I can support them as they're getting into their older age, so they don't have to they don't have to starve themselves or pay electricity. I want to make sure they have everything that they need. So, having a company like this that has a good, solid process that does help create a residual income, as well as an ongoing supportive system, that's very important to me. Just because of that. Then I can divvy up how much money I'm going to be giving them and then kind of go from there. So there's a multifaceted thing, complement that with the fact that you guys are an established company and have a name behind you guys. It does help with the sales process and help people understand why it's important to work with you, and then more importantly, work with me through you guys. So I guess that's going to be the long and the short of it. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to reach out anytime. Again, this is Terry Buzzard Jr., and I thank you for your time.